do your storyboard, and let's talk about it. We'll spend some time on that, and then you want to be putting your project together. If it's in Word, you'll put it in Word. If you are dealing with Flickr, then you'll want to start uploading your images to Flickr and adding some captions. You'll want to have played with it before if you haven't already, but we will have a tutorial specifically on how to get your images onto Flickr and doing what you want to have them do. If you're adding captions onto the image itself, remember there are programs like Picnic and so forth that we'll look at that you can use to overlay captions on top of the image. Remember the essay on Atlantic City homeless again, where we put those details, where he dealt with both text on the image itself and text under the image. Thinking about whether you want to manipulate the images to tell a story. Think about how you want those pieces stuck together. A lot of those decisions will be made before you actually do the heavy manipulation of the images themselves. But anyway, before we finish this third phase, you're going to want to upload your draft to Flickr. And then we will take a look at your draft together, and we'll offer some feedback, at which point you're going to submit the final draft for review. And I think that is pretty self-explanatory. Here are the phases again. We're going to begin. We begin now the exploring in the collections and elsewhere, doing some contextualizing, finding a good idea, and then pitching it. To do the exploration, we've got to be both rigorous and playful. We want to explore the digital collections and elsewhere, and I'll point you to some potential elsewheres. We want to keep track of what we're seeing and what's possible, keeping an open mind, but also keeping track of what we see if we think it might be useful, because we don't want to lose any information tied to images that we're working with, because if we don't have that information, we can't use that image. We're continuing to do some reading and some textualizing in both concept and the region, and some potential models for us. Then we pitch to get some feedback. Just generally, what are we thinking about? What might the final project look like? And then we get down to the business of actually finding out what's there and what we need to find, what's available, further tweaking our project so that we could submit a working abstract. And then we begin actually, saving the images that we're going to be using, and we want to be careful about how we organize them and where we place them. And as I said, Dropbox is a place to do that. We want to be careful about file names, because if we don't save them right, we won't be able to use them. So a good safe bet is to try to save them as a JPEG. And then we want to further make some decisions before we get to the bottom of things and start mixing our elements together to create our essay. And we do that typically conceptually through storyboard. Storyboard just being an outline, thinking about where we want our images before we start, what can sometimes be a maddening task about getting things, if it's the first time to do it, where we want them to be. I will, in addition to talking about the Word, just plain old embedding images into Word option, I'll also share with you a program called Prezi, which will probably not be the best place to include tons of text, but it does some nice things. Ideally, we'll be uploading them to Flickr though, and when you're ready, you'll upload them and your images and so forth to Flickr. And then add that to draft to the rough cut to Flickr or wherever your sharing site is, and we will bring those links into the discussion activities so that we can review one another's, and I will give you a guide for that, and we'll give each other some good feedback, revise it for the next week, and voila, you are done. So the process is going to be quite similar for the second essay, which is going to be a comic version of your story told through comic life, and then the third one's going to be more video.